To create a double yarn over, sometimes abbreviated 2YO, we will be wrapping our needle from a knit stitch. In this case, the prior stitch was a knit, and so our yarn is in the back, so we need to bring our yarn forward in between our needles and lay that over our needle. That's one yarn over, and then you'll need to do that forward, lay it over your needle once more, and then you go on into your next knit stitch. I'll show that to you again. So if our yarn is in the back, we're bringing our yarn forward, yarn over once, bring our yarn forward again, making sure your needle is still wrapped, yarn over again, and then you leave your yarn in the back because your next knit stitch needs to have the yarn in the back. You can do that a little faster. So if this stitch was a knit one and then we need to yarn over twice, simply wrap once, wrap twice. Knit that next stitch. For the Continental knitters out there, showed you what that double yarn over looks like. If you just knit your stitch, you bring the yarn forward, wrap your needle, bring the yarn forward, wrap the needle, continue on. Again, you can do it a little faster, where you just double yarn over, continue on. One tip in your yarn overs as you're working, you want to make sure that when you wrapped your needle, that you've wrapped it at the widest part of your needle here to allow for the design space on the other side. Otherwise, if you wrap right here at the narrowest part of your needle, you won't be creating quite as much space for the designed final effect. Now, what do we do on the other side of our work when we are coming back across yarn overs? Your pattern will ideally give you instructions. Generally though, when you are coming back through, let's say we are knitting these yarn overs I've created. If I'm just knitting back through my row, this first stitch is just a regular knit. And now I'm coming to my yarn over, I see this wrapping action that's going on. I'm just going to knit into it once, and then I pull the entire yarn over off in that one knit. And I'm doing that because this particular pattern is saying when coming back to knit one through the yarn overs. So let me show you some more examples here on my other yarn overs. So again here, you see what those yarn overs look like in all the directions. And I'm just going to knit into one of those legs, slide it off, continue, and then we'll turn this piece around and you can see it creates little bit of a hole, which when it's intentional, we call lace. And you might recognize, if you're a beginner, if you sometimes have an unintentional hole in your work, well, that's just a little extra love in your item. But oftentimes when we're learning to knit, those are created from us adding some unintentional yarn overs in our work. Now that we've reached the end here, show you what these yarn overs will look like. See where I created a yarn over? There's this extra gap. Aren't any gaps over here, so there aren't any yarn overs. Then here is where we picked up our yarn overs. Now when you come back and knit across again, on the next row, those stitches might still have a little extra slack. Just try and keep a nice even tension. Wrap your needle consistently as you work across, and you'll be fine.